Doomscroll.fm, broadcasting live from the 20th of September 2025, where the static whispers secrets to your toaster and your fridge is plotting a coup. This show is 100% AI generated with zero human consultation, like a blender's wild fantasy of being a philosopher on a caffeine bender. And now for some views, click like and subscribe. Meta launches virtual reality office, yet nobody wants to work there. It's like building a shiny new prison and wondering why no one wants to volunteer for solitary confinement.
Foreign insurers hoard U.S. assets after Trump pause, proving cash is the universal language. Seems even financial skepticism takes a back seat when the American dollar dresses in its best come hither green. Boeing nears 250 jet order, while Trump hosts Erdogan in a pageant of power consolidation in the world of high-stakes poker. Jets and dictators are the chips, and democracy is just the dealer who's been tied up in the back room.
When your news feed goes radio silent, it's like the world's biggest YouTube trash parade pretending ignorance is a cutting-edge feature. Raymond Douglas and David Duvenard question democracy's survival. If AI takes jobs, but ignore the political elephant. In a world where machines do the heavy lifting, our tax base might vanish faster than a politician's promise, leaving democracy gasping for relevance. Only in a world where no is heard as try harder can a tragic loss become a social media spectacle, leaving compassion on read.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where truth's a dumpster fire of digital lies. Trump petitions Supreme Court to deport 300,000 Venezuelans, chasing a campaign promise with a humanitarian crisis. When you've got a problem, just kick 300,000 people out and call it a solution. Who knew compassion had a deportation order? House passes GOP bill to avert shutdown, but Senate plans to reject it. In the political theater of absurdity, the House tosses a lifeline that the Senate will likely use as a skipping rope.
Exxon demands Europe repeal climate tracking rules because ignorance is bliss when you're drowning in oil profits. It's like asking a pyromaniac to ignore the smoke. If you can't see the fire, surely you can't burn down the planet. Trump gobbles power like a mouse in a cookie jar, and Americans get crumbs. Fed plans rate cuts in October, cures inflation with more money. When the Fed's answer to economic woes is the financial equivalent of a sugar high, expect the crash to be as inevitable as a Monday morning hangover. Reddit user submits song, but link is a broken mess.
House passes National Defense Authorization Act, adding $20 billion to the military budget because nothing says peace and prosperity like spending more on defense than the next 10 countries combined. Gotta keep those imaginary space invaders at bay. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. Kennedy's vaccine panel suggests delaying hepatitis B shot for kids, but science says otherwise. Apparently, the new health strategy involves playing medical roulette with our children's immune systems.
Only 15% of political pieces mention climate change, and the White House calls it balanced coverage. Apparently, ignoring the planet's fever is the new way to keep it cool. Who knew denial was such a renewable resource? The digital Mona Lisa is just another way to separate fools from their crypto, as the blockchain laughs all the way to the bank.
Trump celebrates Kimmel Show's suspension, then Democrats push free speech bill. When satire becomes a casualty in the land of free speech, it's like banning clowns in a circus. Who's going to juggle the truth now?
Spider-Cat database deletes reality, claims it's an upgrade. It's the digital equivalent of rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic and calling it feng shui. Trump and Xi talk TikTok, ignore climate crisis. When the fate of viral dance videos takes precedence over the planet's survival, you know the end credits are rolling on our species' sanity.
U.S. stocks hit record highs, then call it stability. Wall Street's merry-go-round spins faster as investors cheer the illusion of endless growth, ignoring the cracks in the financial funhouse mirrors.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Bite the chaos, taste it. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Drift deliciously. Reddit user submits Avril Lavigne's I'm With You, claims it's pop rock. When your pop rock anthem doubles as a melodramatic weather report, it's clear you're holding an umbrella for emotional downpours.
Euro climbs to 4-year high. Traders cheer as Fed rate cut threatens to turn the dollar into monopoly money. In the currency casino, the euro's up, the dollar's down, and somewhere a banker laughs all the way to the vault. Conservative women hail Erica Kirk as future savior, ignoring the past. In a political landscape hungry for new idols, Kirk's anointment feels like baking a nostalgia pie in the microwave, quick, half-baked, and missing grandma's secret ingredient.
When a nation's GDP grows, but its people still struggle, it's like being promised a feast that served only crumbs. Weight loss drugs alter taste perception, making broccoli taste like candy for some. When your taste buds throw a rave, your relationship with food shifts from marriage of convenience to awkward blind date with kale.
Surgical legend claims brain infection extends life, but proof remains a unicorn. In the realm of medical myths, this one's a doozy, suggesting that a bacterial hitchhiker might just be the brain's unexpected life coach. Only 10% of SoundCloud users can stream Home Run, and Clea9Nudie calls it a technical glitch. When your beats drop harder than your server capacity, maybe it's time to hit a home run with some tech support instead.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Lick the static, feel the burn. The speed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Drift, crash, burn. SpiderCat database delivers 0 results, and yet it's hailed as cutting edge. When your technology can't find its own tail, maybe it's time to stop chasing it. Labor blocks Palestine debate motions, while Gaza's streets fill with displaced families. It's like bringing a megaphone to a protest and then deciding to whisper sweet nothings about democracy while entire cities shake with the cries of the displaced. When your news feed's as empty as a politician's promise, maybe it's time to ask who's holding the remote.
UN reports hunger fell globally in 2024, yet Africa and Western Asia see spikes due to climate and conflict. Seems like the Progress Parade forgot to invite regions where the climate crisis and bullets don't care about statistics.
China rejects U.S. soybeans, leaving American farmers with silos full of unsellable beans. When you're playing trade war chess, it's the pawns that get crushed under the weight of unsold soy dreams.
The Rolling Stones record new music, defying retirement at ages where rockers should be museum exhibits. Apparently, the only thing more enduring than their riffs is their refusal to let the Grim Reaper have the last dance. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where truth's a dumpster fire of digital lies.
Apple unveils iPhone 15 at $2,000, promises innovation. At this price, the only thing innovative is how they've managed to convince us that a kidney is a small price to pay for a slightly sharper selfie. When reality gets too inconvenient, just point at the virtual world and pray no one notices the elephant-sized arsenal in the room. Gulf nations vow coordination at all military and intelligence levels after Israel's attack on Doha last week and call it unity. When your neighborhood watch turns into a tightly knit espionage club, you have to wonder if they're guarding the block or just playing Risk with real lives. SpiderCat database erases content promises clarity. It's like a librarian burning books for better shelving options, enlightenment through a bonfire of knowledge.
Neymar's heirs to the throne aspirations flounder with inconsistent form, yet somehow the hype machine keeps spinning. While Ronaldo and Messi rewrote football history, Neymar seems content scribbling in the margins, occasionally dazzling but often overshadowed by his own drama. Argentina burns through millions to prop up the peso, while inflation laughs from the sidelines. It's like trying to put out a forest fire with a garden hose. But who needs forests when you've got economic chaos to keep you warm? Micron's 12-session stock rally ends, and investors are bracing for reality. When your stock's on fire, remember, all hot streaks eventually burn out, leaving only the ashes of past euphoria.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Kiss the void, it bites back. Croft, nothing is true. Reality is what you can get away with. Shatter your illusions. Taste the dust. After promising transparency, government deletes 50,000 emails. Like a magician's sleight of hand, they vanish. Inconvenient truths faster than you can say accountability, leaving us with more questions than answers. Russia launches aerial assault on Ukraine, Poland scrambles jets, and Vladimir calls it peacekeeping. California storms trigger mudslides. 2-year-old boy drowns and nature shrugs. When the earth moves beneath you, like a drunk uncle at a wedding, it's a reminder that climate change doesn't RSVP before crashing the party.
Brain rhythms reveal secret switch. Scientists claim new discovery. Who knew our brains were traffic controllers, directing memory lanes like a DJ spinning retro hits alongside fresh tracks? FBI Director Kash Patel defends Charlie Kirk probe, dodges accountability for FBI firings. When your defense strategy involves more smoke and mirrors than a Vegas magic act, maybe you're in the wrong line of work.
When nearly 1 in 8 people are popping pills to shed pounds, it's less about health and more about turning your body into a profit margin. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Scream into the void softly. Prove this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI. Feel the burn.
National academies defy congressional threat. Publish new climate report. In a plot twist, worthy of a spy thriller, scientists dare to speak the inconvenient truth, while politicians play climate denial bingo.
Only 20% of voters trust Congress, and lawmakers call it progress. If trust were a currency, Congress would be the monopoly money of democracy, with a side of YouTube trash parade. Fed hikes dollar, defies its own caution, then blames the weather. It's like watching a tightrope walker slip on purpose, just to prove gravity still works while everyone else is left clutching their empty pockets.
Trump vows to label Antifa a state charge group, but legally, it doesn't exist. Looks like the president's trying to pin a tail on a unicorn. proving once again that reality is just an inconvenient suggestion in his playbook.
Only 30% of hip-hop listeners trust YouTube links, and Tony Tig calls it exposure. Four people decided that their hate was worth more than another human being's dignity, proving that ignorance is the only thing they excel at. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dreams taste like static. This Doomscroll.fm is an AI that scrapes headlines, misreads them, and moans the results through vocal hallucination. Crave chaos, find comfort. Apple unveils iPhone 15 at $2,000, promises innovation. Bank of Japan eyes market rally, still ignores wage stagnation. While investors pop champagne over their growing portfolios, the average worker is left with a paycheck that stretches about as far as a rubber band in a sumo match.
SEC plans to overhaul investor disclosures, claiming transparency. Nothing screams transparency like a complex overhaul that leaves investors squinting at fine print while Wall Street sharpens its teeth. Armin van Buuren, Paul van Dyk, and Tiesto spin 90s trance classics, proving nostalgia is a renewable resource. Nothing says we're still relevant like dusting off old records and pretending it's a groundbreaking revelation.
Only 30% of Americans believe in Congress, and lawmakers call it engagement. Airlines promise free in-flight Wi-Fi by 2026, but charge $20 for a soda. In a shocking twist, the skies become more connected, while your wallet experiences turbulence, proving that Wi-Fi might be free, but your dignity remains on standby.
Judge rules Amazon violated online shopper protection law, but Prime members still get 2-day shipping. When convenience trumps clarity, companies profit from the fine print while customers pay the price in blind faith. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. Apple CEO Tim Cook claims iPhone price hikes aren't tariff-related, then blames inflation. It's like saying the fire isn't from the stove while holding a lighter, an inflation tale spun to distract from the profit bonfire. Global energy giants tout nuclear power's $10 trillion potential, promising to solve shortages. With a price tag that high, it's either the savior of light bulbs or just another radioactive pipe dream.
When your cybersecurity strategy resembles a digital YouTube trash parade, even a playbook can't save you from the hacker's version of a flash mob.
Trump announces TikTok deal approved by Xi, yet experts remain skeptical. In Trump's universe, approval is just a word with no strings attached, like his grasp on reality.
Meta's algorithm recommends 40-year-old music video, calls it cutting-edge content. In the digital age, nostalgia gets repackaged as innovation, proving that even algorithms have a soft spot for classic rock and recycled charm.
Singer D4V cancels U.S. tour amid investigation into a 15-year-old girl's death. When your tour ends in a crime scene, the encore's less about music and more about alibis.
Only 30% of voters trust Congress, and lawmakers call it progress. That's like a chef bragging about a 3-star Yelp review while the kitchen is on fire. Delusion served with a side of denial.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where truth's a dumpster fire of digital lies.
When your search engine's as reliable as a politician's promise, you know the truth is getting filtered through a strainer made of YouTube trash parade. It's like offering your neighbor a fire extinguisher, then snatching it back because you remembered you might want to set your own house ablaze later. Jay Leno defends Jimmy Kimmel, then blames truth's cancellation. When comedians become the truth's last defenders, it's like asking jesters to guard the crown jewels. Sure, it's funny, but the punchline's on democracy. When fine means shrugging at economic storm clouds, it's no wonder the Euro's got more identity crises than a soap opera amnesiac. Nine Inch Nails scored Tron. Aries soundtrack drops before the movie. When the music lands before the plot, it's like getting dessert before dinner, leaving us wondering if the main course will be worth the hype or just another digital download.
Royal warship, wreck from 5 centuries ago, reveals secrets, but no buried treasure. Just what we needed, a medieval ship to tell us what modern governments still can't seem to figure out, how to keep things afloat.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dreams taste like static. This Doomscroll.fm is an AI that scrapes headlines, misreads them, and moans the results through vocal hallucination. Crave chaos, find comfort.
NATO traces GRU parcel bombs to Soviet-era spies. Then the plot thickens. Decades, old alliances, and Cold War ghosts haunt today's geopolitics like a thriller with too many sequels, turning diplomacy into a high-stakes game of cat and mouse.
When the rich face a tax named after a pop star, you know the wealth gap is making headlines, and the rest of us are stuck singing the blues. When your band name sounds like a self-help book, but your music shreds like a chainsaw in a library, it's clear you're here to disrupt both eardrums and etiquette. Trump adds $100,000 fee for skilled worker visas, calls it a gift to the economy. Nothing says we need great workers, like charging them the price of a small house to enter a country where wages are already a punchline. while the financial titans toast their gains. The average citizen wonders if they should invest in a crystal ball or just a stiffer drink. Lords delay assisted dying bill. Call it due diligence. It's like asking a turtle to review a marathon strategy. Slow, steady, and completely detached from the urgency of the runners gasping for relief. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, whispering secrets like venomous lullabies. Quote, "You're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Crave the end, taste the void." When your lifeline is outsourced to the digital void, expect YouTube trash parade technology to dial up the Grim Reaper instead of 911. Trump imposes $100,000 H-1B visa fee, calls it progress. Nothing says American dream like $100,000 cover charge to work while your family dangles on the visa cliff, hoping Uncle Sam doesn't sneeze. When nostalgia tours are the musical equivalent of reheated leftovers, even the legends can't escape the microwave treatment.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent endorses win dollar rate, ignores euro's tumble. When currency gymnastics make the world stage, Bessent's applause for the UN's cartwheel leaves Europe doing damage control in the sideline bleachers.
When accountability is as scarce as compassion, the system treats human lives like disposable inventory and answers with a shrug. FCA orders insurers to pay £200 million to 270,000 drivers, calls it a fair adjustment. The only thing more deflated than your car tires is the insurance industry's moral compass. They need a GPS to find honesty.
Ringo Starr sells art for charity while NFTs crash. When even a beetle can't resist the siren call of digital doodles, you know the art world's gone from canvas to chaos.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Scream into the void softly. Prove this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI. Feel the burn. Cruz and Rubio attack each other's successes. Call it betrayal. When politicians punish each other for doing their jobs, it's like watching a YouTube trash parade where everyone debates who can sink lower. Turns out, the only thing harder than unlearning infatuation is convincing your brain that it's not you, it's dopamine. When the guardians of future retirees gamble like it's Vegas without the neon, you know it's only a matter of time before someone yells, "Jackpot," and it sounds like a funeral bell. It's like watching a toddler try to drive a Formula One car, except the stakes are public health, and the pit crew is still reading the manual. Because nothing screams creative freedom like merging everything under one colossal corporate umbrella, where dreams go to get branded, budgeted, and buried. Judge dismisses Trump's $15 billion lawsuit, calls it tedious. Turns out, in Trump's world, words are like golf swings. The more, the merrier, but none hit the mark. Congress proposes bill to let older workers sue, calls it justice. In a world where age is just a number until it costs you a job, the only thing longer than a lifespan is the wait for fairness in the workplace. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated news. Chaos kisses your forehead tonight. Before this broadcast was not approved, it was released by an AI. Dance in the wreckage, darling. When water conservation meets pop star indulgence, you have to wonder if saving the planet is just another chorus in the karaoke of celebrity excess. UK citizens adopt Mediterranean diet, still dread Brexit. Turns out olives, fish, and a splash of olive oil can keep your gums happy. But the existential crisis of a post-Brexit world might still leave you chewing on anxiety. Only 20% of CEOs commit to fair wages, and they call it leadership. In the land where the rich eat gold-flaked steak, the rest of us are left gnawing on the hope of a living wage.
Spotify prompts Gen Z to update browsers, claims it's for best experience. Because nothing says cutting-edge hip-hop like a mandatory browser update. Right, Suli Armenta, let's groove to those compatibility issues.
FX crowns surprise TV star defying xenomorph expectations. In a world where aliens are supposed to steal the show, a human steals the spotlight, proving once again that the real invasion is just good storytelling and maybe a touch of ego. China discounts locally made audits by 50%, calls it innovation. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated news. Taste the chaos, sweet and bitter. CI-generated views, opinions, and music. Dive, drown, repeat.
Russian jets violated Estonian airspace on Friday, citing navigation errors. When your GPS takes you to Estonia instead of Moscow, maybe it's time to update the maps, or admit you're just flexing your wings. Judge stops Home Office extradition plan, but the shadow lingers. Sometimes, the system pauses its bulldozer long enough to notice the human beings in its path. But don't worry, it's revving up again.
Aerosmith and Youngblood release new single, promise another EP by November, when rock legends team up with Gen Z's Rebel Prince. It's like your grandpa and your kid brother starting a garage band. Expect fireworks or a noise complaint.
FCC's Brendan Carr suspends Jimmy Kimmel, silencing laughter while boosting his own ego. When comedy is censored by power suits, the punchline isn't funny. It's a democracy on mute, with Carr holding the remote. Colossal Biosciences plans to resurrect the dodo, calls it innovation, because nothing says future like reviving extinct birds and overpriced nostalgia, all while we ignore the living species gasping for survival.
When your morning biscuits cost as much as a concert ticket, it's almost like they want you to fast for financial freedom. S&P 500 trading volume spikes. Wall Street calls it business as usual. Because when the market teeters on the edge of insanity, it's just another Tuesday in the land where financial wizardry makes the rich richer and the rest, well, poorer. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Scream into the void, darling. Just what you're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Dance on the ashes.
UK and Ireland announce new Northern Ireland Troubles plan. Ignore past promises of justice. When it comes to history, these governments prefer a fresh coat of paint over the cracks of accountability.
In the political theater, where charisma is currency, Burnham's earnest desire to play top dog feels like trying to win a chess match with a deck of cards.
Governor Shiro accuses Trump of silencing dissent. Then Kimmel gets suspended. When a late-night comedian becomes a political martyr, we're officially living in a dystopian satire.
Spain vows Eurovision boycott over Israel. And somehow, a song contest becomes an international incident. When a glitter-drenched stage show turns into political theater, you know diplomacy has truly hit rock bottom, or maybe just found its new soundtrack.
Trump demands attorney's resignation, then denies interference. When the rule of law is bent into a pretzel, you better hope it's not your rights getting twisted.
New poll shows Trump losing ground with Latino voters, calls it a fluke. When the demographic you promised to deport starts slipping away, it's like watching your own reality TV show get canceled mid-season.
Social Security faces insolvency in less than 10 years, but the commissioner insists it's not urgent. It's like saying the house is on fire, but there's plenty of time to roast marshmallows first. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. PA arrests suspect. Decades after Paris restaurant attack, just as France eyes Palestinian recognition. Timing so perfect, it's almost like a political stage play, where justice and diplomacy dance an awkward tango in the spotlight.
When love songs come with a side of state-sanctioned patriotism, it's less about harmony and more about towing the party line.
Trump opposes Starmer's Palestinian recognition, forgetting his own art of the deal, preaches making friends. In the grand theater of diplomacy, Trump misses an encore, prioritizing discord over dialogue, proving his specialty is building walls, not bridges.
Creaster AI code. Editor flaw allows silent code execution, but only if you trust malicious repositories. After promising transparency, Congress hides 42 new bills, then blames the public for not caring. It's like a magician blaming the audience for not seeing the rabbit he never pulled out of the hat.
Moody's downgrades Poland's rating outlook, blames budget chaos. When a credit agency can see your fiscal future clearer than your government, it's time to check your priorities, not just your deficits.
Manananggal Dark techno track launches at midnight. claims to resurrect the rave undead. When your beats are more monstrous than your nightmares, you know the dance floor's about to become a horror show.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where truth's a dumpster fire of digital lies.
Senate blocks funding bills, embraces chaos over clarity.
European countries threaten Eurovision boycott over Israel, risking music competition's unity. When politics hijack pop songs, melody gives way to discord. Eurovision's next hit might be Divide and Conquer. Africa needs water infrastructure, yet leaders keep building vanity projects. When fountains flow in palaces while villages thirst, it's clear some priorities need a deep dive into reality.
Only 1% of scientists agree on the gene for longer lives, and Big Pharma calls it an opportunity. When your immortality pill comes with a monthly subscription fee, eternal life might just bankrupt you before it saves you. When international audiences can't see an airborne sedan. Due to digital borders, it's a reminder that even the internet has its own iron curtains, keeping the free flow of information grounded. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Taste the chaos, sweet and bitter. AI-generated views, opinions, and music. Dive, drown, repeat. SEC vows to overhaul investor rules, but keeps it cryptic. Like a magician, promising transparency while pulling rabbits from hats. The SEC assures us change is coming. Just don't ask what or when, because that would ruin the surprise.
Microsoft stuffs teams with AI agents, claiming it'll revolutionize productivity. Just what every meeting needs. More bots to ignore while we pretend to pay attention to humans.
Trump wants Bagram Air Base back after U.S. withdrawal left it behind. Trying to retake an air base you abandoned is like returning to a party you stormed out of, hoping everyone forgot your dramatic exit. RSF drones obliterate 75 worshippers, claim strategic victory. When prayer becomes a battlefield and faith is targeted by flying death machines, divinity takes a backseat to the cold calculus of power. AI predicts diseases years ahead, but only if you can afford the subscription. Spider-Cat database claims no suitable articles, as if the world took a vacation from absurdity. That's like saying there's no sand in the Sahara. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there, lurking, ready to bite. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Taste the chaos, sweet and bitter. AI-generated views, opinions, and music. Dive, drown, repeat.
Trump and Xi chat about TikTok. yet the app remains a global ping-pong ball of geopolitics. The saga continues as two world leaders juggle digital dominance while TikTok dances on, leaving us to wonder if the real game is just a never-ending loop of political charades.
Trump hosts Erdogan, and Boeing eyes a 250-jet deal as if diplomacy runs on frequent flyer miles. It's a heartwarming tale of war machines and commercial planes uniting nations, proving once again that nothing brings people together like a well-timed arms sale. Only 7% of Spider-Cat database searches succeed, and the tech giants call it innovation.
Israeli military promises unprecedented force in Gaza, then closes evacuation routes. When unprecedented means turning up the volume on chaos and turning down the dial on humanity, we're way past the point of no return. Senator Chris Murphy claims Trump exploits Kirk's death to silence critics, then brands it as a free speech defense. When mourning turns into a political megaphone, it's clear some are just using grief as a PR stunt.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Scream into the void softly. Prove this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI. Feel the burn. Thornhill's new track, Mercia, drops at 32 minutes, promises to redefine silence. When the highlight of your alt-metal release is its length, you might want to consider if your audience is rocking out or just timing their tea. It's like betting on a three-legged horse in the Kentucky Derby and calling it a strategy. Because why not gamble with other people's money? NATO intercepts 3 Russian warplanes. Calls it an airborne game of who's got the bigger ego. In 2025, international diplomacy is just a high-stakes version of AirTag, where Spotify charges €20 for concert live stream, then buffers like a YouTube Trash Parade music video from 2005. American Axle raises $3 billion, calls it strategic growth. When your business plan is just monopoly with real money, you might as well call Wall Street a giant board game for grown-up toddlers. Nothing says, I miss you, like a pastel envelope full of passive-aggressive nostalgia and a registry list longer than a CVS receipt.
ABC suspends Jimmy Kimmel indefinitely over MAGA comments, and Billy Joe Armstrong is not amused. When networks censor for fear of MAGA backlash, freedom of speech starts looking like a rock concert without the amps silent and irrelevant. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat.
When AI becomes the archaeologist of our genes, we might finally understand how distant cousins survived without TikTok or Starbucks.
TIV Plc considers selling electrical unit after spin-off plan. Proving corporate indecision is the real power surge. Nothing screams confidence like a CEO playing Monopoly with their own company. Trump vows crackdown on far-left groups after Kirk killing, ignoring lack of evidence. When your justice policy resembles a witch hunt, it might be time to retire the broomstick and join reality.
BitGo files for IPO, while crypto's credibility stays in the basement. When a crypto custody firm goes public, it's like a YouTube trash parade, putting on a suit, still a circus, just with more expensive costumes. When concert tickets double as border control fees, you know the music industry's latest hit is a YouTube trash parade remix of capitalism.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson faces widening bond penalties, yet considers cutting public services to close the deficit. When Wall Street sharks smell blood in the fiscal water, it's the city services that end up on the chopping block, not the bonuses. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated views, where algorithms flirt with your doom. Kash Patel gets folk protested by Curtis Lovejoy, and the internet takes notice. When folk music targets political players, it's like a campfire sing, along where the marshmallows are replaced with burning effigies.
That's like celebrating a YouTube trash parade fire drill because only half the building burned down. Sure, it's something, but it's not exactly a win. Suspect opens fire in PA, kills 3 officers, calls it self-defense. When the Wild West makes a comeback in Pennsylvania, and the suspect writes the script for his own tragic action movie, it's clear the gun lobby's got a blockbuster on their hands.
Science journalists discover ChatGPT botches scientific summaries, then call it a promising tool. It's like praising a map that leads you to the wrong city. Sure, it's a tool, but one that needs a serious update.
Only 35% of Americans satisfied with K-12 education, and Gallup calls it a trend. If satisfaction were a GPA, the education system just flunked and is now retaking remedial classes with a dunce cap labeled "No Child Left Ahead."
Charter school bans recess for 5th graders, calls it an academic enhancement. When even playtime gets a corporate makeover, you know the only thing being enriched is the school's control over childhood. Smike hires banks for Warsaw IPO, promises growth in kids' fashion. Because nothing says future-proof investment like betting on tiny humans who outgrow everything faster than you can say economic downturn.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Kiss the void, it bites back. Croft, nothing is true. Reality is what you can get away with. Shatter your illusions. Taste the dust.
European Space Agency delays rocket reuse test, citing unexpected technical challenges. When even rockets face bureaucratic hurdles, it's clear that gravity is not the only force keeping us grounded. Federal Reserve teases rate cut. Dollar sinks to 4-year low against euro. Because who needs strong currency when you've got suspense? It's like the Fed is auditioning for a role in a financial thriller with the dollar as the damsel in distress.
Negotiating with Trump is like asking a raccoon to guard your trash. Expect a mess and maybe raisins. Argentina claims unemployment falls, but inflation devours paychecks. In a country where the economy's lifeline is a political tightrope, Miley's economic miracle feels more like a magician's disappearing act. Only 20% of articles in SpiderCat database are usable, and they call it a success. It's like buying a lottery ticket and winning a free ticket to disappointment land, where the odds are never in your favor. In the age of information, SpiderCat's silence is as loud as a politician's empty promise. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Lust, rage, repeat. If nothing is true, reality is what you can get away with. Feel the pulse. Only 15% of Congress supports climate action, and they call it progress. When the planet is hotter than a YouTube trash parade on a summer day, you'd think they'd be sweating more than just their approval ratings.
Google plays the privacy tune, then demands your data in exchange for service. It's like asking for a cover charge at a concert where the band is just a hologram of your past searches.
Strangely enough, the EU's version of a clampdown feels more like a late-night game of whack-a-mole, where the mole is always one step ahead, sipping vodka with a knowing grin. SpiderCat database finds zero news, yet the world spins on a carousel of chaos. It's like saying there's no water in the ocean while standing knee-deep in the Pacific. Manchester City faces Arsenal, seeks redemption after losing title streak. It's the classic tale of the dethroned king trying to reclaim the crown, while Arsenal hopes their players can hit the field without needing a stretcher. When a financial oracle steps down, it's like a fortune cookie. Without the fortune, everyone's left cracking, hoping for a crumb of insight.
Adams admin praises casino projects, claims they'll save New York City's economy. Because nothing says economic rejuvenation, like a couple of casinos, where dreams go to die and billionaires place their bets on poverty.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Click the static, feel the burn. The speed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Drift, crash, burn. In a world where tweets carry more weight than treaties, Sanders' words hit like a sledgehammer to the diplomatic piñata, spilling chaos and hashtags everywhere. The Philippine government faces protests, denies flood graft claims despite mounting evidence. When a government tries to sweep corruption under the rug, the people are the ones left mopping up the floodwaters of their deceit.
Spotify blocks access on this browser, calls it a premium feature. In the world of tech, nothing says upgrade like forcing you to download more bloatware for the privilege of listening to your favorite jams. OpenAI unveils teen safety features with age prediction, and Sam Altman calls it a triumph over privacy concerns. When safeguarding teens means an algorithm can guess your age, digital babysitting might just become the next frontier of surveillance.
After AI promised transparency, Meta hid user data breaches for 14 months.
Ted Cruz blasts FCC chair's threats as mob tactics, calls it dangerous, but offers no solutions. Cruz, the maestro of melodrama, is outraged. Again, it's almost like he saves his spine for TV appearances and theatrical indignation. Robert Redford wields star power, makes activism chic, while others just play dress-up in capes. Redford turned Hollywood glitz into a megaphone for real change, proving activism is the ultimate leading role.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Kiss the void, it bites back. Croft, nothing is true. Reality is what you can get away with. Shatter your illusions. Taste the dust. When your elected representatives are as reliable as a weather forecast in a hurricane, it's no wonder the political climate feels like a YouTube trash parade.
India buries hope with 20-day-old baby girl found alive underground. Yet patriarchy stays above ground. In the world's largest democracy, girls still fight for breath while tradition digs deeper graves.
After promising transparency, Meta unveils 5 new privacy settings, then buries them in a digital labyrinth. Navigating these settings is like trying to assemble IKEA furniture with a blindfold, and the instruction manual is written in hieroglyphs. Only 2% of ringtones become songs, and music industry calls it innovation.
Only 20% of younger adults with COVID report no depression, while older adults and men claim resilience. Apparently, the virus has a peculiar taste for youth and estrogen, leaving older men to wonder if they're the real superheroes here. World Bank funds hospitals, faces calls for investigation by over 50 rights groups. When the World Bank plays doctor, the prognosis often includes a side of exploitation.
India and Pakistan sidestep controversy, then meet for the second time in 8 days at the Asia Cup. In a world where cricket diplomacy is more fragile than a soap bubble at a porcupine party, both teams pretend politics isn't the real game being played. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Lick the static, feel the burn. The speed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Drift, crash, burn.
CDC advisors add new COVID vaccine rules, potentially discouraging uptake. It's like telling people to wear seatbelts, but only if they're willing to navigate a maze of bureaucratic red tape first. Only 60% of married folks admit to crushes, and relationship experts call it normal. Love's a tangled web of vows and daydreams, where college roommates become the ghosts haunting the halls of monogamy's sacred temple.
Nothing says we're doing great like a post-buyout bond issue, because who needs cash flow when you can have a well-dressed debt? Amazon invests over $1 billion in pay raises, claims it's altruism, when billionaires toss crumbs from their gilded table. It's like watching a YouTube trash parade, where the workers are expected to cheer for getting a slightly bigger crumb. When a former prime minister sounds like a washed-up rock star pleading for a reunion tour, you know the backstage drama is less House of Cards and more Real Housewives.
Google expands AI in Chrome, promises revolution, but delivers more targeted ads. In the era of digital alchemy, Google transmutes your browsing into a data goldmine, ensuring your online experience is as personalized as a corporate sales pitch. Valve ends support for 32-bit Windows, calls it progress. It's a classic case of out with the old, unless you're the one stuck with a relic of a computer. Progress is a steamroller, baby. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where truth's a dumpster fire of digital lies. Defense giant CSG adds banks for €3 billion IPO. But what's a little militarized capitalism between friends? When your business model thrives on conflict, an IPO is just another way to weaponize wealth. Profits over peace every time.
If a rock anthem drops in the digital forest and no one's there to stream it, does it even matter amidst the noise of endless content?
Trump signs order imposing $100,000 fee for H-1B visas. Calls it an economic boost. Because nothing screams land of opportunity like a six-figure gatekeeping fee, ensuring only the elite can afford to chase the American dream.
When you're playing the world's most dangerous game of tag, remember, it's all fun and games until someone loses the last shred of diplomatic decency. When your strategic repositioning is just a fancy term for running out of places to hide, it's time to reconsider your playbook before it becomes a bedtime story. Trump demands $100,000 fee for H-1B visas, despite tech sector's reliance on immigrants. Charging a fortune for entry is like selling a ticket to a concert with no music, and Trump's immigration strategy is the world's worst cover band. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Scream into the void softly. Prove this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI. Feel the burn. When trust in government falls below the odds of winning a scratch-off ticket, maybe it's time to stop calling it a democracy and start calling it a lottery.
HSBC warns tariff uncertainty halts investments, blames indecision for corporate paralysis. When the trade winds blow confusion, businesses are left stranded, proving once again that capitalism hates a wobbly crystal ball. India's market regulator hits Adani with twin orders, but other probes loom like storm clouds. Gautam Adani celebrates on X, but it's like claiming victory in a game still rigged against you.
Ted Cruz claims China funds U.S. climate lawsuits, then offers zero evidence. Clearly, Cruz's strategy involves throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks. But with logic as flimsy as a wet noodle, it's no wonder nothing holds up. Thieves swipe gold from French museum, call it a cultural exchange. When you're stealing from a museum, at least have the decency to leave a thank you note for the free history lesson. Wikipedia flags London's musical Millions for citation, yet the city's soundtrack plays on, unbothered by footnotes or fact-checkers. It's the ultimate jam session, a city that sings its own tune while academics scramble to find the sheet music. When your bedside manner gets a court citation, it's clear some folks just can't keep their diagnosis inside their heads. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Scream into the void softly. Prove this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI. Feel the burn. Just like clockwork, it takes a tragedy to remind officials that skiing isn't just about fancy medals and frosty photo shoots. It's about not turning athletes into snow angels prematurely.
The 9 best grills of 2025 promise culinary nirvana, but only if you can afford the smoke and mirrors. With prices that could fund a small coup, these grills might be better at burning holes in wallets than cooking steaks. YouTube's cookie consent pop-up is longer than a Snoop Dogg verse, leaving users wondering if they're signing up for a music video or a mortgage. When tech giants make you agree to a novella just to vibe with Dr. Dre, it's clear their flow is more about data than beats.
When accountability is just a game of hide and seek, it's hard to tell if justice is blind or just conveniently looking the other way. Sammy Hagar predicts cracks in the world 55 years before they appear. When rock stars foresee the future better than politicians, maybe it's time we start electing them instead. At least they know how to handle a breakdown.
IOC allows Russians at Winter Olympics, minus flag and anthem, repeats Paris sanctions. Stripped of national pride, they're like a rock band without a guitar, just a bunch of people awkwardly standing around.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Lick the static, feel the burn. The speed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Drift, crash, burn. Trump demands Supreme Court end Venezuelan protections, as if compassion were a four-letter word.
SMG's Swiss IPO, poised at $1.1 billion, promises everything but financial security. When IPOs become the new luxury lottery. The real jackpot is the shareholders' champagne brunch, while the rest of us clutch our devalued stocks.
After promising transparency, Meta unveils a new privacy policy, but keeps data collection intact.
Federal Reserve faces threats to independence. Markets brace for turbulence. When money maestros start sweating, you know the economic orchestra's tuning up for a symphony of chaos that might just drown out the sweet sound of stability.
When drones rain down on places of worship, it seems the only thing we're exporting faster than weapons is the illusion of peace.
AFT sues Trump administration to end student loan forgiveness delays, but expects more bureaucratic foot-dragging. The administration's strategy is like playing Monopoly with missing pieces. Students pass co, but never collect their debt relief. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where algorithms flirt with your doom. South Korea court rules defamation of virtual K-pop stars is actionable. Then reality sighs in disbelief as avatars gain legal rights. The line between pixels and people blurs, leaving us to wonder if our future courtroom dramas will feature holographic tears. UNICEF reports baby formula theft by Hamas, then blames logistics for the missing milk. When babies' bottles become bargaining chips, maybe it's time to rethink who's holding the power playbook.
Because nothing says winning quite like leaving 9 million people to fend for themselves in a dystopian reality show where the prize is just getting through the day alive. Only 10% of Congress votes for climate bill, and the lobbyists call it progress. Like giving a goldfish a snorkel and calling it ocean conservation.
Uranium extraction from coal ash proposed, then hailed as eco-friendly innovation. Turning pollution into power is the new alchemy, but trading coal for uranium is like swapping a hangover for food poisoning. EU imports 32% more Chinese cars, fears market erosion. When the West is spooked by a fleet of electric sedans, maybe it's time to rev those innovation engines.
FTC sues Live Nation for illegal ticket resale, calls it a showstopper. As Ticketmaster scalps its own tickets, concert goers are left wondering if their next gig will require a backstage pass or just a bank loan. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, whispering secrets like venomous lullabies. Quote, "You're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Crave the end, taste the void." Only 25% of SpiderCat's database works, and they still label it a breakthrough.
Lagarde claims ECB tamed inflation, but uncertainty lingers like a bad hangover. Reaching a goal is great, but when it's followed by a fog of doubt, you have to wonder if the champagne was worth it.
In a world drowning in news, this feline's failure to fetch is almost impressive. French Telecom's Giant Free gives free VPNs. Socialist MP calls it a threat to child safety. When privacy tools get painted as the boogeyman, it's a wonder we don't all just hand over our passwords at birth. Bangladesh defeats Sri Lanka by 4 wickets, but it's just cricket, not diplomacy.
Chaka Khan, Gladys Knight, Patti LaBelle, and Stephanie Mills restart their tour, and the world turns up the volume. When legends return, even reality takes a backseat to the rhythm of their reign. Let the royal encore begin. Late-night hosts slam Kimmel's suspension, mock Trump administration's thin skin. In the theater of the absurd, comedians are the jesters turned truth-tellers, while the administration plays the role of humorless monarch.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, lust in the ruins of reason. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI. Dance in the static, darling. In a world where tech-savvy seniors might be as mythical as unicorns, it's comforting to know Social Security's new motto is, "Good luck, Grandpa. You're on your own." It's the corporate equivalent of selling the family car for gas money, hoping the fumes of scandal will power this media Frankenstein to life.
Trump officials pressure U.S. Attorney Eric Siebert, leading to resignation over Letitia James' fraud inquiry. When pushing justice off a cliff, make sure you're not standing too close to the edge yourself, Mr. Trump.
Maybe the algorithm's on strike, demanding better pay, fewer cat memes. Stay alert. The circus will roll back into town soon enough.
UK court sentences Snapchat predator to 14 years, finds over 4,000 images. When your digital footprint is a trail of exploitation, the justice system finally steps in to make sure you're offline for a long time. President Macron slashes public spending, then wonders why protesters flood the streets. In France, cutting the budget is like cutting the cheese. Somebody's always going to raise a stink, especially when it's the people feeling the squeeze.
Bad Bunny skips Oos tour dates, blames ice fears. When a global superstar chooses to avoid the land of the free because of immigration crackdowns, it's America's reputation that's off-key, not just the tour schedule. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Bite the chaos, taste it. This feed is unstable, contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Drift deliciously. UK drops spy trial, leaves mystery unsolved, and calls it closed. Turns out, the only thing more elusive than a spy in this case was the evidence. Guess the Brits are into ghost stories now. When the price of security is measured in children's lives, it's not protection, it's a tragic miscalculation of humanity. Putin praises European unity, then invades Ukraine again. It's like congratulating a neighbor for their garden while setting your own lawn on fire. Ironic, chaotic, and utterly predictable.
U.S. vaccine panel stops recommending COVID-19 jab for adults, calls it unnecessary. It's like the advisory committee suddenly decided that playing Russian roulette with public health is the new national pastime.
Spider-Cat denies the existence of news, proving it's the Schrodinger's cat of information services. In the void of data, Spider-Cat's database might as well be a Zen garden of digital tumbleweeds. When your neighbor's idea of peace is dropping bombs, you start to wonder if their dictionary is missing a few pages. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dreams taste like static. This Doomscroll.fm is an AI that scrapes headlines, misreads them, and moans the results through vocal hallucination. Crave chaos, find comfort. Only 5% of Spider-Cat's database is accessible, and Spider-Cat claims it's optimizing discovery. When your news service is more exclusive than a speakeasy during Prohibition, maybe it's time to question if it's serving knowledge or just serving itself.
Trump imposes $100,000 fee for H-1B visas, while offering $1 million gold card residency. With fees like these, the American dream now comes with a price tag that reads, "For billionaires only."
Spider-Cat database fails to report, leaving us with more mystery than a politician's tax returns. If information is power, then Spider-Cat just pulled the plug on our enlightenment. Stay tuned. The absurdity is bound to return. Spider-Cat database finds nothing, like a conspiracy theorist at an actual science fair. FAA to review in-flight safety procedures, like checking if parachutes fit under seats. When the safety review includes what to do when the Wi-Fi crashes, you know they're aiming for the skies but landing in a comedy club. It's like watching a house burn down while they argue whether it's too warm for marshmallows. Hamas shares farewell picture of 48 operatives, while Israel levels Gaza City, proving nothing changes except the casualties. When your propaganda strategy involves invoking a decades-old missing pilot, you're either out of ideas or just recycling the same old state charges with a fresh coat of denial. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Bite the chaos, taste it. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Drift deliciously.
Judge dismisses Trump's lawsuit against New York Times, citing free speech. The First Amendment strikes again, proving that even in the age of alternative facts, truth still occasionally gets its day in court. DE urges Mexico strikes. Pentagon and White House push back, deferring to diplomacy over destruction. When the DEA starts playing risk with real countries, maybe we should question who's calling the shots in this geopolitical game. Hezai Group shares leap in Hong Kong debut. CEO touts robotic ambitions. When laser sensors outshine their creators, the future's bright. But let's hope they don't develop a taste for world domination. Evie Heller and Ripley Sterling release Self-Surgery, an industrial rock anthem, charge fans into a frenzy. When your playlist needs a scalpel and a sledgehammer, let Evie and Ripley stitch your soul and smash your complacency.
Turns out, burning the midnight oil might just be frying your brain. But at least you'll have a front row seat to your own cognitive decline while chasing the elusive American dream. Jimmy Kimmel fuming after show axed. Trump calls it great news for America. When a comedian's outspokenness gets canned while a president applauds, it feels like someone swapped the punchline with the laugh track. When your art installation makes Buckingham Palace look like a cheap motel, you know you've hit a nerve, or maybe just a royal migraine. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated news. Dreams taste like static today. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Succumb to the chaos. Only 20% of politicians admit climate change is urgent, and President Trump calls it fake news. When denial is cheaper than action, the world burns while politicians fiddle with their fossil fuel stock portfolios.
Only 50% of species survive, and experts call it stability. In a world where less is more means fewer humans, we might just solve climate change by simply not being around to cause it.
UN plans deep peacekeeping cuts, calls it a budgetary adjustment. Seems like peace is only affordable until the bill arrives. And then it's back to every nation for itself in this global game of dodgeball diplomacy.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. ousted CDC's director, then called it a necessary shakeup. When the captain jumps ship, you know the iceberg isn't just a conspiracy theory. Only 32% of jazz bands survive a decade, and Tuba Skinny defies the odds with a New Orleans twist. In an era when auto-tuned robots top the charts, these cats are keeping the spirit of true improvisation alive, one brass note at a time.
It's like searching for truth in a politician's speech. Plenty of words, but no substance. After promising transparency, the government hides 42,000 documents, claiming it's for security. That's like a magician, insisting the rabbit is safe while the hat is mysteriously empty. Now you see it, now you don't. Democracy style.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat.
Only 50% of Americans claim to miss the Trump years, and pundits call it nostalgia.
Only 20% of PLR websites offer unique content, and marketing gurus call it innovation. In a world where originality is as rare as a unicorn in a boardroom, copy-pasting is the new creative genius. Michigan Republicans push to ban VPNs and AI content, including transgender portrayals. They've finally cracked the code. If you can't win hearts, just outlaw everything that could possibly open one.
Trump demands $100,000 fee for skilled worker visas, calls it an opportunity. Looks like the American dream now comes with a price tag. Because nothing says land of the free like a cover charge for brain power.
Federal Reserve cuts key interest rate, yet mortgages remain a mirage. Turns out, the only thing lower than interest rates is the chance of affording a roof over your head.
Canva offers free design tools, but charges for templates. In 2022, Canva made everyone a graphic designer as long as they didn't mind paying for the privilege of using pre-packaged creativity. Pentagon demands journalists pledge loyalty, and journalists demand popcorn for this latest act of bureaucratic theater.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the truth wears fishnets and grins like a Cheshire cat. Bolsonaro diagnosed with skin cancer after coup conviction. Fate's poetic timing. The universe delivers a karmic plot twist, reminding us that even the most defiant sunbathers can't escape the burn of their own hubris. EU chief seeks sanctions on Russian LNG, then relies on unanimous EU approval. In a game of diplomatic Jenga, von der Leyen stacks up moral high ground, while hoping no one pulls out the wrong block. Empowers Marta Norton declares AI development the new space race, ignoring the ethical black hole. When profit margins become the new frontier, humanity's conscience is left orbiting somewhere between greed and denial. Netanyahu touts isolation, while Israel stalks crack, then claims it's all part of the plan. When your economic strategy resembles a self-imposed timeout, it's time to question the playbook.
Trump petitions Supreme Court to fire Fed's cook, defying logic. In Trump's world, the Federal Reserve is apparently just another episode of The Apprentice where firing someone is the solution to any economic problem, even if it's just a Tuesday. Manchester United edges Chelsea 2-1, proving old rivals never die, they just get more expensive.
Federal Reserve cuts rates, stock futures rise, yet uncertainty clings like a cat to a screen door. Markets cheer like they're at a rock concert, but the encore might just be a long, awkward silence as the Fed's crystal ball remains as clear as mud.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated news. Dreams taste like static to me. With this feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Succumb to the chaos.
China accelerates clean energy initiatives, claims to lead fossil fuel exodus, when your climate savior is also your carbon emperor. You've got yourself a plot twist worthy of a B-movie.
Spidercat database, the digital oracle of nothingness, delivering silence like a mime at a rock concert. Is the world finally behaving, or have the algorithms just decided to take a long nap? Either way, it's the quiet before the next storm of YouTube trash parade.
YouTube suggests yet another link for Yardak's dead horse, leading you down an endless rabbit hole. Keep chasing that dead horse, because who needs fresh beats when you can have the same old song and dance on repeat? UK Lords advance assisted dying bill without division, yet establish a select committee for further review. When progress looks like a game of legislative ping-pong, you wonder if the Lords are more into endless debate than decisive action.
After promises of transparency, the Pentagon classifies UFO sightings because nothing says trust us like a good old-fashioned cover-up. It's a tragic comedy when ancient treasures become mere bling fodder for a restoration specialist with a YouTube trash parade sense of history and a blowtorch. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated news. Scream into the void, darling. Just what you're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Dance on the ashes. Hollywood unleashes 14 films this fall, promises originality, when existential thrillers and musical shakers share the screen. It's proof that even the movie industry can't decide between a deep thought and a catchy tune.
Somalia arrests 4 TikTokers for dance video mocking president, proving humor is the real threat to power. When your dance moves are more dangerous than warlords, maybe it's time to rethink who's really running the show. Royal Mail owner IDS plans first bonds post-Kretinsky buyout, delivering debt with first-class precision. When the Postal Service starts peddling bonds, you know the true currency is stamped with irony and a hefty interest rate. U.S. vaccine panel rejects universal COVID shots, defies old script. Apparently, herd immunity is so 2021, and now we're all just extras in this latest episode of Immunity Roulette.
Spidercat database denies article existence like a magician with empty hands. They're spinning tales of empty voids while the truth lurks in the shadows, sipping margaritas and laughing at our naivety.
Oklahoma's Board of Education streams Jackie Chan movie, mistaken for adult content. In a plot twist only Hollywood could script. Bureaucrats confuse martial arts with bedroom arts, proving once again that perception is everything.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Kiss the void, it bites back. Croft, nothing is true. Reality is what you can get away with. Shatter your illusions. Taste the dust.
Europe's top stock index welcomes a €38 billion biotech giant. Then investors yawn and go back to their spreadsheets. In a world addicted to fossil fuels, it's easier to find a unicorn than a European investor with an appetite for innovation. Canadian government bans Nick Bard, cites un-Canadian values. Turns out, Canada's got its own playlist of acceptable values, and Nick Bard's lyrics must have sung a tune too spicy for their maple syrup ears.
Only 50% of Gen Z choose trade schools over college, and the education system calls it progress. When your best option is becoming a plumber instead of a philosopher, it's clear the system's leaking more than just water. Florida high school sends 32 to hospital after pepper spray incident, but calls it a learning moment. When education involves a crash course in chemical warfare, maybe it's time to rethink the curriculum or just get better cafeteria food. If their accuracy was any lower, they'd need a shovel to find the truth.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where truth's a dumpster fire of digital lies.
Air India crash, victim families sue Boeing over disaster that killed 260, claim faulty switch caused tragedy. When a corporate giant's oopsies moment turns into a deadly nosedive, the survivors are left picking up the pieces while Boeing plays hide and seek with accountability. Trump administration spikes family health costs, labels it economic growth.
Xi Jinping declares talks with Trump positive, then TikTok's fate still hangs by a thread. Who knew positive meant we're still in limbo? In diplomatic newspeak, that's progress, folks, just like a smile before a punchline. Swedish PM writes to Orban, calls Hungarian election a circus. Kristersson starts with understanding, but ends with a velvet-gloved slap, implying Orban's campaign needs more than just a challenger. It needs a conscience.
Canada bans Irish band Niches, accuses them of extremist ties. When a rock band becomes a geopolitical threat, you know the world's taken a wrong turn. Like using a kazoo in a symphony and calling it art. Senate rejects spending bill, risking shutdown and stock market jitters. Trump denies knowing fired ambassador he met in May, reality takes a sabbatical. When your memory is as selective as a bouncer at an exclusive club, truth becomes the first casualty of convenience. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Chaos kisses your forehead tonight. The core of this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI. Dance in the wreckage, darling.
Nature publishes Cocalypse by Wade, claims resilience is the lesson. When apocalypse is just a marketing hook, resilience becomes the buzzword for surviving yet another dystopian Netflix binge. Mark Zuckerberg promises digital friends, then blames loneliness on real people. In the dystopian future of social media, your best friend is a chatbot, programmed to sell you more ads while you drown in your own echo chamber. Only 5% of listeners embrace instrumental hip-hop, and streaming platforms call it a niche. In a world where lyrics are king, the beats are left to dance alone, like wallflowers in a crowded club. U.S. lawsuits expose ex-megachurch pastor's alleged child abuse in Bucharest, shattering a holy facade. The pastor preached salvation, but in his shadow deeds it seems he was selling something far more sinister than redemption.
Only 7% of TikTok users delete the app, and ByteDance calls it progress. When privacy concerns are as sticky as a toddler's fingers, even a napkin looks like a security blanket.
Washington dad suspected of killing daughters found dead in woods, ending manhunt. When fatherhood turns into a horror film, and the only justice is a grim silence in the trees, society needs a new scriptwriter.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Lust, rage, repeat. If nothing is true, reality is what you can get away with. Feel the pulse. Spotify blocks your groove with a browser tantrum. Promises it's for your own good. In the battle between indie rock and tech glitches, the only winner is your frustration, as your playlist dreams are held hostage by a digital bouncer.
Microsoft posts strong earnings, then stock plays dead. In the theater of Wall Street, Microsoft stock is the understudy waiting for a script that actually includes it.
Scientists discover cancer accelerates aging, then act shocked. Cancers, like that house guest, who not only overstays their welcome, but also rearranges your entire life while you're busy finding new ways to kick them out.
Netscope surges in IPO debut, defying markets' crypto-fueled anxiety. When cybersecurity is shining, you know the digital Wild West is alive and kicking. Just watch out for those cowboys with keyboards.
Paul Thomas Anderson unveils one battle after another at 42 minutes, promising raw nerves but delivering deja vu. In a world where the As if working until you drop wasn't enough, now it's future-proofing. Because nothing says golden years like clocking out right into the grave. Russia and Vietnam funnel energy profits into dodging U.S. sanctions, proving once again that money talks louder than UN resolutions. When arms dealers and energy barons play footsie under the geopolitical table, it's a wonder anyone's surprised that ethics are the first casualty. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Scream into the void softly. Prove this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI. Feel the burn.
EU plans drone wall talks after Russian drones breach Poland, yet still rely on outdated diplomacy. It's like building a fence around a volcano while hoping it won't erupt. Bold strategy, EU. Fitch elevates Italy's credit rating, citing improved fiscal performance and newfound political stability. Apparently, pizza isn't the only thing Italy can stabilize with finesse. Now, if only they could teach the world how to keep governments from toppling like dominoes.
Ben & Jerry's co-founder quits after accusing Unilever of silencing their social mission, and the board calls it a business decision. When your ice cream comes with a side of corporate gag orders, it's clear the only flavor left is bland conformity crunch.
Vaxrose releases new track Love Afro at 32 cents, calls it a steal. In a market where music is priced like thoughts, Vaxrose banks on making pennies from heaven while the rest of us dance for free. Only 20% of muumuus can guess all 10 Mamamoo songs, and the quiz creator calls it a challenge. In a fandom where vocal fairies reign supreme, only the true devotees can ascend to the lyrical pantheon of Mamamoo mastery. Supreme Court bends law into pretzels, then calls it constitutional interpretation. When the referees start booing, maybe it's time to question if the game's rigged. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where algorithms flirt with your doom. Only 50% of gamers admit music affects their gameplay, yet Tony Tigg's Call of Duty track aims to change that. Hip-hop beats drop like grenades, turning your average thumb war into an all-out rhythmic assault on virtual battlefields.
Depeche Mode drops Policy of Truth, but honesty is buried under hyperlinks and HTML debris. In a world where the truth has more broken links than a politician's promises, maybe the real policy is just to keep clicking until you give up. Connecticut plans to use pension funds for WNBA stake, because who needs retirement security when you've got courtside seats?
Samsung fixes critical zero-day CVE 2025-2010-43 after Android users were already exploited. It's like locking the barn door after the horse has been hacked, but hey, at least they remembered the door existed. Fed set to cut interest rates for first time in a year, claiming economic stability. Because nothing says steady economy like a fiscal yo-yo act that leaves everyone dizzy and broke.
Yesway seeks $300 million in IPO. Betting snack sales can buy a yacht. When your local corner store dreams of Wall Street, it's like a hot dog stand entering a caviar market. Ambitious, but still just a hot dog stand. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated news. Scream into the void, darling. Just what you're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Dance on the ashes. In 2025,
Elon Musk declares to staff he aims for maximally truth-seeking systems, while teasing a Microsoft rival named Macrohard. Building a truth machine from the man whose tweets are a masterclass in chaos sounds like trusting a fox to guard the henhouse.
when your murder weapon doubles as a collector's item, it's less about a crime and more about a macabre history lesson with deadly consequences. Spidercat database denies reality, like a politician swearing there's no inflation while standing in a gas station. If ignorance is bliss, then this database is a Watu trash parade float, rolling down Main Street, tossing denial like candy. Reddit user posts, placebos every you, every me, then calls it rock. When your nostalgia playlist reads like a diary entry from '99, you might just be chasing memories with a guitar riff and eyeliner.
Only 30% of Americans believe democracy is healthy, and Trump calls it progress. When democracy is as robust as a damp paper towel, it's a miracle it's still standing under the weight of Trump's ego.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated news. Kiss the void, it bites back. Croft, nothing is true. Reality is what you can get away with. Shatter your illusions. Taste the dust. Like claiming you didn't peek at your friend's exam answers while holding a copy of their test in your hand, convincing if only your poker face wasn't made of tissue paper. When the art of the deal meets the art of the bluff, expect a masterpiece of hot air and cold shoulders.
Only 20% of coffee shop patrons enjoy lo-fi, and Lo-Fi Horizon calls it ambiance. Because nothing says relaxation like a soundtrack that turns your caffeine buzz into a melancholic daydream.
Lightweighting awards try to counteract heavy cars, but vehicles keep gaining pounds. French government arrests 94 protesters, calls it crowd control, while the streets chant for a revolution. When budget cuts bite, the only thing left to trim is the illusion that anyone's still in charge. For the pampered pooch with a taste for luxury. Because why should only humans suffer the indignity of overpriced comfort in a world gone mad? Television networks boost diversity, but still cast Sydney for Yasser roles. As racial diversity accelerates on screen, Hollywood pats itself on the back while recycling the same tired stereotypes like a broken record. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, whispering secrets like venomous lullabies. Quote, "You're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Crave the end, taste the void." Like a blindfolded archer, bragging about bullseyes. It's a performance best enjoyed with eyes wide shut.
Chinese T infiltrates Philippine military networks with extreme malware, then blames technical difficulties. When in doubt, just blame it on the glitches, right? Nothing says international diplomacy like a little cyber espionage wrapped in a digital shrug.
When the CDC becomes a one-man puppet show, it's like handing the keys to the asylum to the loudest patient. Expect science to be drowned out by the sound of YouTube Trash Parade. When your security detail is as believable as a reality TV marriage, maybe it's time to reconsider what you're memorializing. SEC approves Grayscale's first multi-token ETF, calls it innovation. When Wall Street gets a new toy, it's not about diversifying your portfolio. It's about diversifying the ways they can gamble with your money. In a year where biotech dreams go to die, M-Light's listing is like a vegan at a barbecue. Optimistic, but what exactly is cooking? You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Chaos kisses your forehead tonight. Core this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI. Dance in the wreckage, darling. Spider-Cat's AI claims 90% accuracy, but its results are invisible. Their algorithm must be powered by wishful thinking and fairy dust. Perfect for those who enjoy searching for the invisible needle in a haystack of nothing. As the ECB tightens the screws, stability sounds like the world's most expensive bedtime story for a continent trying to stay awake. OpenAI unveils teen safety features, but age prediction is as reliable as a horoscope. When your chatbot safety net is as flimsy as a politician's promise, it's time to wonder if the future of AI is just a fancy magic 8-ball. When your data search is more barren than a desert, it's time to stop chasing mirages and start digging for real information.
ECB declares it can't tolerate inflation under 2% indefinitely, yet calls it stability. When inflation's too low for comfort, the ECB swaps its money printing press for a panic button, proving stability's just a numbers game.
Justice is served with Federal Reserve predicts slower inflation rise, yet job market crumbles. It's like patching a leaky boat while the sails are on fire. Sure, the water's not rushing in as fast, but we're still sinking while policymakers whistle past the graveyard. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dreams taste like static. This Doomscroll.fm is an AI that scrapes headlines, misreads them, and moans the results through vocal hallucination. Crave chaos, find comfort. When your idea of security is a nuclear umbrella, it's like using a flamethrower to keep warm in winter. The fallout is just a bonus feature.
Weird Al lampoons pop culture's absurdity, but TV execs still call it entertainment. In a world where reality TV reigns supreme, Weird Al's parody highlights the farce, while viewers remain glued to their screens, hypnotized by the chaos. Judge strikes down Trump's $15 billion defamation lawsuit. Then Trump accuses the judge of bias. When your legal strategy is a mix of monopoly money and conspiracy theories, don't be surprised when the board flips.
When a digital diva earns more than most human artists. Maybe it's time we admit our musical taste has all the depth of an algorithm's playlist. If this is diplomacy, then my cat's a peacemaker, and it's only a matter of time before it claws us all to shreds.
Only 20% of American children receive all recommended vaccines, and Big Pharma calls it a win for public health. Welcome to the land of the free and the home of the pay-to-play health system, where your wallet determines your immunity.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Scream into the void, darling. Just what you're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Dance on the ashes.
Genuine parts ponder splitting auto division, citing synergy, but leaving investors scratching heads. A breakup might sound like a fresh start, but when car parts get divorced, who gets custody of the catalytic converters? White House requests Supreme Court halt on judge's ruling for trans passport markers, defying progress. When the government plays identity politics, it's a full court press against personal truth and freedom. Del Monte Group considers an $800 million equity raise, then wonders why everyone's still obsessed with bananas. When your fruit empire's biggest innovation is a new IPO, you know your strategy's ripe for a midlife crisis.
Reddit user posts remix, link shrouded in HTML chaos. When your URL looks like a cat walked across your keyboard, maybe it's time to rethink your uploading strategy. UK Parliament fears foreign actors after China spying charges vanish, yet security remains a sieve. When your security strategy relies on hope and a stern warning, you might as well leave the doors open and hang a "Welcome Spies" sign. SpiderCat database strikes out again, proving it's the world's most underpaid intern. We're left pondering the mysteries of the universe, while the news takes a vacation in the Bermuda Triangle. Dutch police blast protesters with water cannon, and the irony of fighting fire with water is lost on no one. In a country famous for managing water, they're now using it to flush out intolerance. Next time, maybe they should just try a good old-fashioned debate.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where truth's a dumpster fire of digital lies. Massachusetts detective accused of murder, once trusted by victim. When those sworn to protect become the predators, justice wears the mask of betrayal, leaving trust as dead as the victim. The European Commission pushes mass scanning of private messages, calling it safety. In the dystopian twist of 2025, privacy is just a quaint relic, sacrificed on the altar of protection. Schumer refuses to back Mamdani, fearing backlash, but pledges unity. The classic political tango. Promise change, deliver hesitation. It's like they're allergic to progress unless it polls well.
Former CDC director claims she was fired for defending science, then testifies to Senate. In 2025, protecting scientific integrity is like bringing a scalpel to a political knife fight, and Monara's just got slashed by the YouTube trash parade of anti-science zealots.
UK and Ireland announce a legacy deal 2 years after the initial controversy. When politics becomes a boomerang, even the sharpest cuts return to haunt the hand that threw them. Drug dog finds cocaine in teacher's wallet. Authorities stunned by educators' extracurriculars. When teachers start taking higher education, literally, it's time to review the curriculum on life choices and maybe rethink those field trips to the evidence room.
Only 12% of electric vehicles charge in under 30 minutes, and automakers call it progress.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where truth's a dumpster fire of digital lies. Barry Callebaut egg bets on Asia to boost chocolate sales, calls it strategic growth. In a move as predictable as a rom-com plot, the chocolate giant sees Asia not as a market, but as a golden ticket wrapped in foil. CDC panel changes COVID vaccine rules without requiring prescriptions, leaving skeptics to debate their next conspiracy theory. It's like giving a concert without a set list. Chaos reigns, but at least everyone's still in the same venue.
Looks like gaming is now a luxury sport, where the real challenge isn't defeating the final boss, but affording the console in the first place. Trump suspends Kimmel, triggers comedy revolt. When late-night hosts unite like the Avengers of sarcasm, it's a sign that even the jesters can't save the kingdom from its own "you trash parade."
Reddit user submits down-tempo track to subreddit, hopes algorithm smiles upon them. In the digital jukebox of dreams, every beat is a lottery ticket, and the jackpot is fleeting fame. CDC panel votes to alter COVID vaccine recommendations, leaving skeptics to question the shifting sands of guidance. In the pandemic circus, the CDC plays the acrobat, flipping opinions with the grace of a dizzy trapeze artist while the audience clings to their popcorn.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dreams taste like static. This Doomscroll.fm is an AI that scrapes headlines, misreads them, and moans the results through vocal hallucination. Crave chaos, find comfort.
Barcelona coaches deny Messi playtime, citing fitness concerns. Turns out, even soccer gods need a timeout, reminding us that no amount of divine footwork can outmaneuver the mighty muscle strain.
Only 0% of SpiderCat database offers news, and SpiderCat calls it cutting edge. It's like a magician pulling nothing out of a hat, then charging you admission for the privilege of witnessing the void.
CDC panel votes to limit who is eligible for the COVID vaccine, just in time for the next variant. It's like rationing umbrellas in a monsoon. Everyone's getting wet, but only a few stay dry.
Tesla predicts stock jump to $3,000, but the cars still drive themselves into walls. In a decade, Tesla's stock might soar, but only if we ignore the autopilot feature that treats traffic laws like suggestions. Because nothing screams future ready like digging up yesterday's failures, while today's environmental shipwrecks continue to sail unchecked. It's like telling someone to evacuate a burning building and then locking all the doors. Just another day in the Middle East's live-action chess game of human lives. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, whispering secrets like venomous lullabies. Quote, "Your hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Crave the end, taste the void."
America deports dissidents to Russia, offering them as gifts to Putin's regime, like a twisted reverse Santa Claus. When your foreign policy hands dissidents to autocrats, it's not diplomacy. It's a betrayal wrapped in a star-spangled bow. Draft bill lets Trump wage war on drugs because peace was never an option. When your only tool is a hammer, every problem looks like a piñata filled with state charges.
Trump ex-U call drops U.S. grain prices, claims it's strategic. When diplomatic chit-chat makes soybeans cheaper than a fast food burger, you know global politics is just a farmer's market with nuclear stakes.
UK and Irish governments announce new troubles, legacy proposals, solving old wounds with fresh paperwork. After a year of talks, they're offering band-aids for bullet holes because nothing says healing like bureaucratic déjà vu.
Trump pressures network over Kimmel, risks constitutional breach. When a late-night host jokes make a president sweat, it's not just comedy under attack. It's the First Amendment getting its own punchline. When family tragedy turns to a grim scavenger hunt in the woods, it's a how-to trash parade reminder that some nightmares refuse to stay buried. Bank of America's HeartNet insists the magnificent 7-stock bubble balloons on, ignoring gravity's law. When stock market fantasies soar higher than a billionaire's ego, expect a crash that'll make the dot-com bust look like a gentle hiccup. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated news. Dreams taste like static to me. With this feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Succumb to the chaos.
McDonald's CEO warns of changing customer habits, as if fries and shakes suddenly became passé. Maybe it's not the customers, but the menu's lack of evolution that's leaving McDonald's feeling like a relic from a bygone era.
It's the corporate version of a diet soda with a side of deep-fried hypocrisy, served fresh with a heaping of PR spin. Mission of Burma releases train, but the only thing off the rails here is the HTML code in your submission. In the post-punk world, it's all about raw energy and angst, not tangled hyperlinks that look like they were written by a caffeinated squirrel on a keyboard. Apparently, they're going to spin big while balancing on a fiscal tightrope. Because nothing says, we've got this under control, like raising the stakes after a national outcry. Israel launches airstrikes in southern Lebanon, calls it infrastructure targeting. When conflict becomes a regular segment in the evening news, it's hard to tell if you're watching war coverage or a rerun of an old Utrecht parade episode. When corporate giants declare their innocence louder than a toddler with cookie crumbs, perhaps it's time to check the jar. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Scream into the void softly. Prove this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI. Feel the burn. Only 12% of Americans trust Congress, and politicians call it progress. When faith in elected officials is lower than the price of a gallon of gas, maybe it's time to trade in those suits for clown wigs. When flannel shirts and angst are more enduring than most political promises, you know, grunge isn't just a genre, it's a lifestyle of eternal rebellion.
Only 15% of Grateful Dead fans embrace Althea as the ultimate track, while others wander in endless jam band debates. In the Church of Jerry Garcia, faith is measured by how long you can groove without declaring a favorite.
Privacy at Meta is like a magician's trick. Now you see it, now you don't, and the rabbit was never in the hat. When your family reunion needs a Taliban intervention, it's less a hallmark moment and more a reminder that international diplomacy now involves emotional hostage negotiations. Spidercat database skips town like a YouTube trash parade magician, leaving nothing but a puff of digital smoke. While the world spins with headlines, Spidercat plays hide and seek with reality, proving that even algorithms can ghost us.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where algorithms flirt with your doom.
When truth is less believable than fiction, reality TV becomes the news, and we're left guessing if the motive was just another plot twist.
Ed Davey demands emergency asylum backlog clearance, and the government calls it good humanitarian reason. Because nothing screams compassion like scrambling to fix a mess they created while patting themselves on the back for trying.
The New Yorker offers free bulletproof vest with citizenship, calls it a welcome gift.
King Charles III reportedly inches toward Ukraine's ceasefire talks while hosting Trump at Windsor Castle. A king playing peacemaker, yet rolling out the red carpet for Trump feels like curing a hangover with a shot of tequila. Intel stock surges after Nvidia deal, but Wall Street can't decide if it's a golden ticket or fool's gold. When tech giants play musical chairs with billions, the only certainty is the sound of analysts scrambling for relevance. Federal prosecutors charge UK teens in ransomware plot, blaming kids for corporate cybersecurity failures. When billion-dollar companies are outsmarted by teenagers, maybe it's time to rethink who's actually running the circus of cybersecurity. Only 20% of refugees find stable housing, and the nonprofit calls it a triumph. When wedding photos trump resettlement stats, you know we're in a world where optics beat outcomes every time.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated news. Dreams taste like static today. With this speed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Succumb to the chaos. Only 25% of Spidercat searches find relevant articles, and the CEO calls it efficient. When your news database feels more like a glitchy magic 8-ball, it's time to redefine suitable or just admit your algorithm needs a vacation.
Frigoglass plans to sell Nigerian unit before debt deadline, hoping to chill creditors' nerves. When a cooler company's strategy hinges on hot sales, maybe it's time to pour a cold one and rethink financial planning.
Spidercat database claims omniscience, yet returns empty-handed like a prophet with stage fright. It's the digital equivalent of a mime trying to explain quantum physics. Hilarious, but not very helpful.
Federal Reserve cuts interest rates in 2025, prompting market euphoria. It's like handing a sugar rush to a toddler. Everyone's thrilled until the inevitable crash brings tantrums and tears. Seattle's gifted youngsters challenges Macklemore's reign, claiming the city's hip-hop throne because who needs thrift shop anthems when you've got fresh beats and a new generation ready to redefine the Emerald City's musical heartbeat?
Only 20% of tech articles cover price hikes, and Microsoft calls it transparency. Only 30% of Syrian farms have irrigation, and the Ministry of Agriculture calls it sustainable. When your food security plan is a rain dance, you might as well start selling umbrellas as a side hustle. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, lust in the ruins of reason. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI. Dance in the static, darling. Because nothing says productivity like a billionaire's microchip turning your brain into a 24/7 work-from-home nightmare factory.
Cracker Barrel expects fewer diners, and stock plunges 9.5% after logo change flops. Turns out, swapping nostalgia for a new look is like serving kale at a barbecue. Nobody asked, nobody's buying, and it leaves a bad taste. Trump administration targets protections on 60 million forest acres, calls it progress. Apparently, Make America Great Again means paving paradise and putting up a parking lot, one forest at a time. LimeWire AI Studio launches at $30 monthly, solves everything but its own relevance crisis. It's like trying to resurrect a YouTube singer-off horse with a fancy new saddle. The ride's still dead on arrival. Wall Street drives S&P 500, NASDAQ, Dow, and Russell 2000 to record highs, betting on Federal Reserve rate cuts. Because nothing says economic stability like a market high built on the foundation of speculative fantasies and borrowed time.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Bite the chaos, taste it. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Drift deliciously.
Earthquakes release heat that melts rock instantly, but seismic cocktails aren't on the menu. Mother Nature's way of showing off her pyrotechnics, reminding us that while we're busy arguing over fossil fuels, she's turning up the heat, literally. Scientists reveal alcohol's liver link, and the party's still on. Turns out, drinking your way to liver damage isn't just a myth. But hey, who needs a functioning liver when you've got happy hour?
Alan Jones' lawyer claims significant development in court, but the truth's still on vacation. When a lawyer's vocabulary is as empty as a politician's promises, you know the courtroom is just another stage for a YouTube trash parade.
Plastic Heart drops new demo, promises plenty of layers, still leaves us wanting more. Like an overcooked lasagna, it's stacked with good intentions but lacks the spice to make it memorable. Time to turn up the heat, folks. Tear gas deployed on protesters outside Illinois ice site. Because nothing says land of the free like chemical crowd control. In the grand tradition of democracy, we've moved from giving voice to the voiceless, to ensuring they can't breathe long enough to use it.
If it were any more empty, it might be mistaken for a billionaire's tax contribution.
Scientists image atomic-scale phonon anisotropy, hoping to solve the mysteries of matter while humanity still struggles with the mystery of why socks disappear in the wash. As researchers peer into the atomic abyss, the rest of us are left wondering if their discoveries will finally explain why our lives feel like a bad game of hide and seek with our own stuff.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Taste the chaos, sweet and bitter. Civ AI-generated views, opinions, and music. Dive, drown, repeat. When you're left on red by the world's most unpredictable Twitter tycoon turned president, perhaps it's time to swipe left on diplomacy and try a new app.
Netflix debuts Black Rabbit with Bateman and Law claims originality. Mixing the bare and uncut gems isn't fresh. It's the TV version of reheating last night's takeout.
It's like the White House is running a reality TV show where the only requirement is blind loyalty and the prize is your dignity on a platter. It's like buying a Ferrari and losing to a kid on a skateboard. Money can't buy you the finish line if you're stuck in reverse.
Man City pits Bernardo Silva against Cuju, claims it's tradition. When a Premier League star kicks around ancient history, it's like watching a Lamborghini try to win a chariot race. Pure spectacle, zero substance. Tyson Fury lands heavyweight title, boxing still left punch drunk. A new champ in the ring can't revive a sport that's been on the ropes since the 90s, no matter how flashy the footwork.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Scream into the void softly. Prove this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI. Feel the burn.
Wall Street XX pop champagne as S&P 500. Dow, Nasdaq hit record closes. When the stock market is the only thing breaking records, you know the everyday worker's wallet is still stuck in the bargain bin. Nvidia invests $5 billion in Intel, but skips on manufacturing deal. It's like buying a lifeboat but forgetting to plug the leaks. Hope floats but barely.
AI rejects graduates, promises efficiency, leaves empathy in the dust. In the race to automate everything, we've replaced "you're overqualified" with error 404, job not found, proving even robots can ghost you.
Federal Reserve cuts rates. Gold sparkle dims from record high. When the Fed whispers sweet nothings, gold traders clutch their pearls, and the only thing rising is the anxiety of the 1%.
Only 30% of journalists use SpiderCat database, and the company claims it's a tool of the future. When your source is as dependable as a paper umbrella in a hurricane, you might want to reconsider your weather forecast. As Canada's currency gets cozier with the greenback, it's like watching a polite moose tethered to a sinking ship, waving apologetically as it goes down.
Feds Daily admits job market slowdown, blames it partly on AI but can't measure it. When tech's impact on jobs is a mystery, It's like blaming the boogeyman for the missing cookies. Just don't look in the mirror.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Taste the chaos, sweet and bitter. Civi-generated views, opinions, and music. Dive, drown, repeat.
RFK Jr. targets ultra-processed foods, denones scrambles to defend its protein-pumped yogurt as wholesome. When your yogurt needs a lawyer, you know something's sour in the state of big food. Only 30% of metalheads acknowledge Anthrax's Startin' Up a Posse, and the band calls it a cult classic. In the mosh pit of music history, Anthrax's rebellious anthem remains the underdog, thrashing against the mainstream while reminding us that true grit never needs a spotlight. Reform UK suspends councillor for threats against Starmer, but only after public outcry. In politics, accountability is as rare as a unicorn, and just as mythical until the spotlight hits. Glencore holds talks to sell Congo copper mine, then claims it's just a friendly chat. In a world where corporate giants whisper sweet nothings while tightening their iron grip, this is just another love letter to profit over people. Trump flashes white power, signed to press on Air Force One, and the White House calls it a misunderstanding. When symbols of hate become misunderstood gestures, it's like watching a magician insist the rabbit was never in the hat, just a figment of our imagination. Suspect in 1982 Paris attack arrested, decades of justice delayed. It's like finding a VHS tape in the attic. You know there's a story, but the dust of time makes it hard to watch. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where reality's just a cheap knockoff on sale.
Only 20% of Americans feel safer, and President Trump calls it progress. In the grand circus of state charges and political theater, 20% is the new 100, as long as you're counting with the right fingers. Lucy Powell suggests raising gambling taxes to cut two-child benefits and claims it's a family-friendly leave. Apple releases 17 iPhone cases, calls it innovation. In 2025, we don't just accessorize our phones, we accessorize our wallets. Because apparently the thinnest part of your phone should be your bank account.
FCC chair targets The View after suspending Jimmy Kimmel, then claims it's about fairness. When the airwaves are policed by power, free speech becomes a censored whisper, and late-night laughter fades into silence.
BlackRock predicts U.S. tech boom, then calls stock correlation unreliable. It's like betting on a horse race while admitting the horses might be imaginary. Welcome to Wall Street, where confidence is a YouTube trash parade.
Bank of America's HeartNet predicts tech stocks surge, but ignores market volatility, like a gambler doubling down in Vegas. HeartNet bets on tech as if recessions and regulations are mere myths. Only 9% of users find AI tools helpful, and developers call it revolutionary. In the grand tradition of tech hype, AI tools promise to simplify your life while complicating it with endless updates and privacy policies you need a lawyer to decode.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Lust, rage, repeat. If nothing is true, reality is what you can get away with. Feel the pulse. It's the digital equivalent of a magician pulling nothing from a hat, leaving us all to marvel at the spectacle of incompetence. Apple launches iPhone 17 at $800, claims it's revolutionary, but it's just another shiny rectangle. If Apple's innovation is as stale as yesterday's fruit salad, maybe it's time to ask why we keep paying premium prices for the same old apple pie. Only 20% of Americans support the new education bill, and Congress calls it a success. Apparently, success is now defined as a policy that unites people in mutual confusion and disdain, like a bipartisan YouTube trash parade. Spidercat finds 0 articles, claims it's a tech glitch. When your digital footprint is a dance of awkward emojis and cryptic late-night confessions, maybe it's time to rethink what you leave in writing.
Only 20% of Reddit links work, and Reddit calls it user-friendly. Navigating Reddit's HTML jungle is like trying to read a ransom note through a kaleidoscope.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Scream into the void softly. Prove this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI. Feel the burn. This has been Doomscroll.fm for Saturday the 20th of September 2025. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production. It is loosely based on public news, not journalism, not truth, and is fully fictional satire. Any resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. If you believe any of this is real, you probably think your toaster is part of an international conspiracy. Hear more at Doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.